Okay, let's see if you want to design a hot air gun, hair dryer, uh, and we want to heat the air at point 1 at atmospheric temperature, at atmospheric pressure, and then there is a fan which actually, like a vacuum, sucks the air in. And then here on this side we got the arrows. These are heating elements. So the heating elements heat up the air, and in the end the air exits from the point 2. Now when the air comes out of the point 2, the air will have a different type of pressure, let's say, right? A little bit, yeah. Now the temperature, let's say, at the inlet, is 15 degree centigrade. The temperature at the outlet is 200. We want it to be 200 at the exit degree centigrade. First thing we do is we convert that into Kelvin. Now then we have a power of this hot air gun. Let's say it's 3000 watts, 3 kilowatts, 3000 watt. And the amount of the voltage it's drawing from the main is 240 watt. We want to find out what should be the mass flow rate, what should be the mass of air that goes in, which can heat the air at 15 degree and then comes out at the other end at 200 degree. So now, because the length of the hot air gun is very small, even if you turn it up or down, there is very little change in height from the datum line. So there is no change in height. We'll discuss that one in a minute. We have a formula, we have an equation. The equation is Q dot equals plus W dot rate of heat supplied in plus the rate of work done is equal to rate of mass flow in the bracket, and then we got the velocity, how fast they're moving, plus the gz, where z is the height at point 1, at point 2. Yeah, because the heat gun is very small and it's horizontal. Even if you do vertical, the change is not much. So we ignore the z same. Z1 is equal to Z2. We nearly assume, because the air that's going to blow in will be it will come out at the same velocity, nearly. I know the air at the velocity 2, at the point 2 is a lot higher than that one, but the difference is very insignificant. So we assume that one as well. This is the assumption we make. Very important to make that assumption, and very important to write these assumptions, these ones. Now then we got Q dot plus W dot equals to M, and then we left with this value H. Yeah. Now we got this value H. It's equal to M dot delta H. Now if I open up this enthalpy, it's mCp delta T. Why mCp delta T? Because I'm doing that one at a constant pressure, because pressure here is room standard pressure at point 1. When it comes up, the air, it just goes back into the standard pressure. Yeah, so the pressure here and the other side is same. Inside here, it will be compressed depending on the number of these fans. If instead of 1 fan, I use 2 fan, 3 fan, 4 fan, hair dryer will be rather 3 kilowatt. It might become 30 kilowatt. It will also become heavy as well. But the pressure at number 2 will be, just before number 2 will be a lot more, which we don't want. Okay, so we got this bit. Now what we do is we will put in the numbers. The energy that's provided, or the voltage, the power is rate of transfer of energy. So rate of transfer of energy is known as power. So Q dot, the unit of the Q dot is actually joules per second, and the W dot is also joules per second, and joules per second is actually a watt. And then we got the kilowatt, the power that's given in this case, because everything it was 3,000 watts. So we just put that one. CP value for air. This is a thing usually provided in exam, but if that's an assignment or sometimes it's not provided, it's kind of easy to remember. 1.01 kilojoules per kilogram Kelvin. The specific heat, all the specific heat has this unit, joules per kilogram Kelvin, sometimes joules per kilogram centigrade. Yeah. Instead of joules, sometimes they put kilojoules. Yeah. So in that case, if that's joules, it's going to be 1010 joules per kilogram Kelvin. Yeah. Same. And if centigrade is going to be exactly same, because that's a difference in temperature, which doesn't matter. But the T1, if it's only T1 or if it's only T2, we use Kelvin. But if it's a difference, it's going to be the same, because you got 10 degree and 20 degree. The difference is still 10 degree. But if you convert into Kelvin as well, the difference is still going to be 20, because you're adding 273 on both and then you're subtracting it. So then we just put that one. Now up to you if you want to do kilowatts or not, because everything is in kilo. The C is in kilo, the Q dot is in kilo. So I'm not going to convert that one. So I will put that value here. Mass flow rate, I don't know what is the mass flow rate. So I just put that one. This is what I need to find out. Now this value Q dot plus W dot instead of here on the top. So what I do is here, instead of the top, I will put 3, and that's 3 kilo. And I need to find. Then we got the C value. C value is that one. I'm using kilo because the kilo and kilo will cancel. The change in temperature, whatever temperature was, I converted into Kelvins, and then I took them away. So 473 minus 288. Yep. Even if you do 200 minus 15, still the same answer. Yeah. Now these things here are being multiplied. You pick it up, throw on the other side, and it will divide. So 3 divided by all that bits that's on that side. So you will get the mass flow rate, which is 0.16 kilogram per second. So now let's have a look at the heat exchanger. We got a supply of a chilled water at the inlet. 6 degree is required to maintain the temperature. A supply of chilled water at 6 degree is required to maintain the temperature of a beer in a cellar. Find the cooling effect required to cool the water if the inlet is 18. So at number 1, we're getting 18 degree, and it's a heat exchanger, cooling effect like a fridge or a chiller. So the liquid fluid goes in from the point 1, and then the heat is extracted. Now heat is extracted, and the amount of the fluid that's going in is 1 kilogram per minute. We don't deal with 1 kilogram per minute, we deal with 1 kilogram per second. So, or kilogram per second, we need to convert that. And then when it comes out on the other end, at N2, the temperature is 6 degrees centigrade. So we are cooling it down, which means we're taking the heat from the water or a fluid or a beer, and we just actually throwing it into the atmosphere. So we need to find out how much heat we are taking every second or every minute or every hour and throwing outside. Yep. Now this is water, mainly water. And let's have a look. So water at 1 kilogram per minute, 18 degree, comes out at 6 degree. Now let's have a look. The first thing is they both have the same height, the inlet and outlet. There is not much difference. So I will say the Z1 is equal to the Z2. Yeah. So which means the GZ element will disappear. Yeah, so that means that the GZ is not going to be there because it's a delta GZ. There is no change in height. Okay, the velocity of the fluid at water at 1 is same as the water velocity of the water at 2, is nearly equal. It depends on actually the size. Yeah, like a pressure washer, but it's not going to be much different. So we say it's nearly equal. So that's gone as well. Which means I got Q dot plus W dot, and plus this is not doing any work. When I say not doing any work, it's not moving anything in one place. The definition of work done is you apply the force and you move a distance. It's not moving anything. It's not moving the chiller from one place to another place. If the fluid goes in, comes out, and the chiller also moves from that place to that place, that's the work done. So then we use the work done. But here the work done is zero. All of the heat is extracted in the form of the pure heat energy, no work done. So then we got Q equals to m delta H, the enthalpy. Now I do not know the enthalpy of the water at 18 degrees centigrade, and I do not know the enthalpy of the water at 6 degrees centigrade. What we do, we just look online for the values of enthalpy tables. How we can find the enthalpy tables? The enthalpy for the water at H1 is 75.5 kilojoules. Enthalpy for the water at the 6 degrees 25.2. Lower the temperature, lower the enthalpy because of lower reduction in internal energy. Then we use this formula, which is Q equals m delta H, or Q equals to m dot H2 minus H1. Now it says 1 kilogram every second. So I can do 1, the mass flow is 1 divided by 60 because there are 60 seconds. So I can do that one. So I can put, instead of that, I can put 1 over 60, m dot 1 over 60, because it is 1 kilogram every second, every minute. This one, H2 is 25.2, H1 is 75.5, both in kilo. Answer will be in kilo. And you got a negative number. The negative number mean that heat is extracted from the system. It also means, think that way, it's also mean your bank balance is going down, because the more you use chiller, fridge, what actually happens? You consume more electricity, which means you have to pay more. So it's the work done on the system, not by the system. So negative 0.84. Now, why the units are kilowatts rather than joules? Because energy has to be in joules, because there is a dot at the start of the Q, which means per second, and there is a second in like as in 60. So we just actually put that minus 0.84 kilowatts. Yeah, it will be automatically in kilo. Now, what will actually happen is, usually, because we use a refrigerant 134A, that's usually the normal refrigerant we use in fridge refrigeration. So sometime there is the heat transfer rate is affected by the evaporation of the refrigerant in these tubes, in the yellow tubes. And the refrigeration unit that we need for that kind of thing is usually very small. So usually it can be for 1 kilogram per minute. It might be the size of half of the size of that bin. Yeah, so half the size of the normal laptop. Yep. So any questions so far?